The person you believe you are is a mask, a carefully crafted facade you've worn for so long you've mistaken it for your truth. But beneath it, your real self is waiting. It's time to see it. Every smile, every handshake, every polite nod. Is it truly you, or is it your persona? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, introduced us to this chilling concept. He called it the persona, a social mask we wear to fit into society. Not who we are, but who we want others to see. We wear this mask so effortlessly that it often becomes second nature. We do not consciously choose to wear it each morning. It is fused with our identity. The persona is the version of ourselves that we curate for acceptance. It is the Instagram filter on our reality. It is the polished resume we present to potential employers. It is the forced smile during a rough day, the polite laughter at an unfunny joke, and the small talk that dances around the truth. But how much of this curated version is truly us? When we strip away the embellishments and facades, what remains underneath? Jung's revelation is that many of us do not know. We are so invested in the persona that we fear what lies beyond it. We risk losing touch with our authentic selves. We risk living a life that is not ours but a performance for others. Picture life as a grand theater. Each of us is an actor stepping onto the stage wearing a mask that suits the script society handed us. At work, we wear the mask of professionalism. With friends, the mask of humor. With family, perhaps the mask of responsibility. But the real question is, when do you ever step off the stage? When do you remove the mask? We rehearse our roles tirelessly. We learn the cues, the lines, the expected responses. We shape our expressions, our words, our body language to align with the expectations of those around us. The performance becomes so convincing that we fool even ourselves. But the exhaustion creeps in. Holding up the mask day after day is draining. There are moments when the mask slips, when frustration bubbles over, when tears escape despite our attempts to suppress them, when a genuine laugh bursts forth, unfiltered and raw. Those fleeting moments remind us that something real still exists beneath the costume. Yet we quickly recover, adjust the mask, and return to the performance. The stage is vast. It spans our careers, our friendships, our relationships, our social media profiles. Each setting demands a different mask, a different script. We become masterful at shape-shifting. But in the pursuit of approval, we risk losing the most precious thing of all, our authentic self. Or think of a chameleon blending into its surroundings to survive. We too adapt our masks to our environment, but unlike the chameleon, we sometimes forget our original color. We camouflage for so long, we risk losing our true selves. The chameleon's camouflage is a biological marvel, a tool for survival. But for humans, the mask is often not just survival, it is validation. We seek to be liked, accepted, and admired. So we adjust our tone to match the room. We suppress our opinions to avoid conflict. We laugh along, even when we disagree. We mold ourselves into what others want, hoping that by doing so, we will secure belonging. But there is a cost. When we betray our inner truth repeatedly, the voice within us grows quieter. We forget the sound of our own authenticity. We become fluent in the language of others but lose the ability to speak our own. The chameleon knows when to return to its natural state. Do we? Erich Fromm warned us about this in The Fear of Freedom. He spoke of our tendency to conform, to trade authenticity for acceptance. Rollo May called it the struggle for existence, a battle between being and becoming. And Brené Brown reminds us, fitting in is the enemy of belonging. Fitting in requires adaptation, Belonging requires acceptance. The distinction is subtle but profound. When we fit in, we adjust to meet the standards of others. When we belong, we are accepted as we are. But the world often rewards fitting in. Schools, workplaces, and social circles value those who comply. So we suppress our quirks, silence our dissent, and sculpt our persona to fit the mold. But Fromm and May warn us, this conformity comes at the price of our freedom. We become imprisoned in the expectations of others. We lose the ability to choose for ourselves. We sacrifice our individuality for the comfort of the collective. And in that sacrifice, we lose a fundamental human need, the need to be seen, truly seen for who we are, not for who we pretend to be. Stand before a mirror, peel away the masks one by one. Do you recognize the face staring back, or is it a stranger? This is not a superficial glance in the bathroom mirror. It is a deeper examination, a confrontation with the self. Strip away the titles, the achievements, the curated smiles. Look beyond the persona you present to the world. Who is there? For many, the answer is unsettling. The reflection is unfamiliar. The person staring back is not the polished professional or the witty friend. It is someone raw, someone with fears, insecurities, and dreams long buried. But this is the first step. To see ourselves beyond the mask is to begin the journey toward authenticity. The mirror exposes the cracks, but it also reveals the truth. And what if you remove the mask and there is nothing left? This is the haunting fear that keeps many of us clinging to our persona. The mask, though suffocating, gives us structure. It provides identity. Without it, we fear the void. Who are we without our roles, our accolades, our carefully constructed image? Jung anticipated this fear. He understood that removing the mask often reveals the shadow, the parts of ourselves we have buried, the anger we suppress, the sadness we deny, the dreams we abandoned. Confronting the shadow is daunting. It forces us to face truths we have avoided. But Jung also knew this. Beyond the shadow lies the self, our truest essence. The self is not empty. It is whole. It is the union of light and dark. It is the integration of our strengths and our vulnerabilities. But to reach it, we must endure the discomfort of shedding the mask. So what if you remove the mask and there is nothing left? That is the beginning, not the end. It is the chance to rebuild, not as a performer, but as a person. It is the opportunity to meet yourself for the first time. And perhaps in that meeting, you will discover that you were never truly empty. You were simply waiting beneath the mask for the day you could finally be you. But Jung offered hope. Beneath the persona lies the self, your true essence. The mask is not evil, it protects you. But you must not mistake it for your soul. You are not your mask. You are the being behind it. We often view the masks we wear as deceitful, as though they betray our real selves. But Jung's perspective was more nuanced. He understood that the persona serves a purpose. It allows us to navigate society, to function within its rules. It is a necessary part of being human. The danger arises only when we confuse the mask for our identity. The mask is a tool, not a prison. You are not the mask. You are the one who chooses when to wear it and when to remove it. To recognize this is liberating. It grants you agency. You begin to see that you can step away from the performance. You can choose authenticity. You can meet the world as you are, imperfect, vulnerable, and real. But what exactly is this self? Jung described it as the wholeness within you, the union of your conscious and unconscious mind. The self is not the image you present, nor the roles you play. It is the quiet, authentic core of your existence. It is the voice that whispers when you are alone, the feeling you get when you are free from judgment, the version of you that existed before the world told you who to be. Finding the self is not about achieving perfection. It is about embracing completeness. It is about accepting both your light and your darkness. The self is not confined to your successes or your strengths. It includes your fears, your wounds, your contradictions. It is the entirety of your being. Jung believed that the journey to the self is the ultimate goal of life. He called this process individuation, the integration of all parts of the psyche. It is the path toward becoming whole. And while it is a lifelong journey, every step brings you closer to authenticity. Every step brings you closer to freedom. We are taught from a young age to put on our masks. We are praised when we conform and punished when we stray. We learn that certain parts of us are acceptable, while others must be hidden. The child who dreams too loudly is told to be realistic. The teenager who questions authority is labeled rebellious. The adult who admits vulnerability is seen as weak. The process is gradual, almost imperceptible. A child cries when they are hurt, they seek comfort. But if that child is told to toughen up, they learn that their pain is unwelcome. They put on a mask of resilience. A teenager speaks their mind, but if their honesty is met with ridicule, they learn to stay silent. They wear a mask of compliance. These masks help us survive. They shield us from rejection, from pain. But as we grow, the masks solidify. We begin to forget what lies beneath. We mistake the armor for our skin. And as the years pass, we lose touch with the child who dreamed freely, the teenager who spoke boldly. We become performers, experts in the art of fitting in. So we tuck away those forbidden parts, our fears, our desires, our dreams, deep into the shadows. Jung called this the shadow self. It is the part of you that holds everything you have repressed. And the longer you ignore it, the stronger it becomes. You might catch glimpses of it in moments of anger, jealousy, or sadness. It is the voice that erupts when you least expect it, the feeling of empty. In essence, when your mask no longer fits. The shadow is not evil, it is merely hidden. It holds your pain, but also your passion. It contains your wounds, but also your creativity. It is the repository of all that you are, all that you have been forced to deny. Jung taught that to deny the shadow is to deny a part of your soul. It will not disappear. It will lurk beneath the surface, shaping your behavior in ways you do not understand. It will sabotage your relationships, fuel your anxieties, and drain your spirit. The only way to find peace is to face it, to bring it into the light. But embracing the self requires embracing the shadow. It means facing the parts of you that scare you. It means accepting your flaws and loving your imperfections. It means stepping into the unknown. This is not a gentle process. It is uncomfortable. It requires honesty, the kind that strips away pretense. It demands that you sit with your pain, your regrets, your fears. It asks you to hold your wounds without judgment, to see them not as failures but as part of your story. When you embrace your shadow, you reclaim your power. You integrate your light and your dark. You become whole. You no longer need to hide. You no longer need to perform. You stand before the world, not perfect but real. Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, called this the hero's journey. He believed that every human life is a story of transformation. We begin in the ordinary world, wearing our masks, but something calls us to adventure, a crisis, a loss, a moment of truth. We are forced to confront our fears, to battle our inner demons, and if we are brave enough to endure the journey, we return home, changed. not with a new mask, but with a new understanding of who we truly are. The journey is not linear. It is a cycle, a spiral. You will face your fears and then you will face them again. Each time you will go deeper. Each time you will discover more of yourself. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt. But each step, each small act of courage moves you closer to wholeness. Campbell taught that the hero's journey is not reserved for myths or legends. It is the journey of every human being. It is your journey, and the reward is not gold or glory. It is the self. It is the freedom to live as you are. It is the liberation from the masks. And so the question remains, will you answer the call? Will you face the shadows? Will you meet the self that waits beneath the mask? The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror, just keep going. No feeling is final." This is the path to the self. It is not comfortable, it is not easy, but it is real. Life will present you with both light and darkness. There will be triumphs that lift you and devastations that break you. You will know joy so profound it feels like your heart might burst. You will know pain so sharp it leaves you breathless, and both are part of your journey. Our instinct is to cling to pleasure and avoid suffering. We seek happiness and resist discomfort. But Rilke's wisdom reminds us that all experiences are teachers. The joy reveals what you cherish. The pain reveals what you fear. Each emotion, each event, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your becoming. To let everything happen is to surrender to life, to trust that every storm will pass and every sunrise will return. It is to stand with open arms, embracing both the beauty and the terror, knowing that both shape you, knowing that both are essential. Peeling away the mask is a process. It does not happen overnight. Each mask we remove reveals another beneath it. The mask of competence hides the mask of insecurity. The mask of humor conceals the mask of loneliness. The mask of strength covers the mask of fear. Each layer is a defense, a story we tell ourselves to survive. We construct these masks not out of deceit, but out of necessity. The mask of competence protects us from the judgment of failure. The mask of humor shields us from the pain of rejection. The mask of strength defends us against the vulnerability of admitting we need help. Each mask begins as armor, but over time, the armor becomes a cage. Removing these masks is a gradual, often painful process. It requires peeling away each layer with gentleness and patience. It requires asking, what am I hiding? What am I protecting? And most importantly, who am I beneath all of this? With each mask you shed, you come closer to your core. With each mask you release, you reclaim a piece of your true self. But survival is not the same as living. To truly live, we must risk exposure. We must risk being seen. We must risk being rejected. Pretending keeps you safe, but it keeps you small. When you hide your truth to fit in, you sacrifice the possibility of genuine connection. When you present a curated version of yourself, you deny others the chance to know you. You deny yourself the chance to be loved for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. The cost of PR. Attending is the slow erosion of your soul. It is the quiet ache of disconnection. It is the lingering question, if they knew the real me, would they still stay? Living authentically requires courage. It means standing in your truth, even when it trembles. It means letting others see your cracks and trusting that you are still worthy. It means choosing honesty over approval and self-acceptance over perfection. There will be moments when you feel naked, when the absence of a mask leaves you vulnerable. There will be moments when others will try to hand you a new mask, when they ask you to be who they need you to be. There will be moments when you will be tempted to retreat, to slip back into the familiar comfort of pretense. Vulnerability is terrifying. It is the act of standing before the world without armor, saying, "This is me." It is the risk of being seen and the risk of being hurt. But vulnerability is also the birthplace of connection. It is the bridge between souls. It is the space where love grows. When you allow yourself to be seen, truly seen, you invite others to do the same. You create relationships built not on masks, but on truth. Each moment of vulnerability is a choice, to show up or to hide, to be real or to perform. Choose real again and again, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. But hold steady. The path to the self is not linear. It is a spiral leading you deeper and deeper into your own being. Each time you confront your shadow, each time you choose authenticity over approval, you grow. You become more whole. You become more you. There will be days when you feel like you are moving backward, days when the mask feels safer than the truth. There will be setbacks. There will be doubts, but growth is not a straight line. It is a winding journey. Each time you face your fears, each time you choose self-expression over suppression, you peel back another layer. Each time you speak your truth, you heal a wound. Each time you embrace your imperfections, you step closer to freedom. Hold steady through the discomfort, through the uncertainty. The path may be difficult, but it leads you home. Home to the self. Home to the person you were always meant to be. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote, "To be that self which one truly is the highest achievement. It is the achievement of a lifetime. It is the work of being human." There is no trophy for this work. There is no applause. The world often celebrates the mask, the polished exterior, the curated success. But Kierkegaard reminds us that the highest victory is internal. It is the quiet triumph of authenticity. To live as you are, not as others expect you to be, is the rarest form of freedom. It is not a goal you reach once and for all. It is a daily practice, a choice you make with every step, to speak when your voice shakes, to rest when the world demands productivity, to say no when yes would be easier, to choose yourself when it would be simpler to disappear into the crowd. Each of these choices is an act of courage. Each is a defiance of the mask, and together they form the masterpiece of a life lived truly and deeply. So peel away the mask of perfection, peel away the mask of control, peel away the mask of who you think you should be, and look into the mirror, not with fear but with curiosity. This is not a violent tearing, it is a gentle unveiling. It is the slow, deliberate act of unlearning. You unlearn the belief that you must always be strong. You unlearn the idea that your worth is tied to your achievements. You unlearn the voice that says you are not enough. With each peel, you may feel exposed, raw, even. You may grieve the masks you once relied upon. They protected you, they carried you through hard times. Thank them, but let them go. The mirror will reflect back what you have long avoided. The cracks, the scars, the beauty, the truth. And when you look closely, you will see someone you have not seen in years, someone real. What you will find is not emptiness. You will find depth. You will find pain, but also joy. You will find uncertainty, but also freedom. You will find a human being flawed but whole. The depth you discover is not a void, it is richness. It is the complexity of your soul, the laughter that erupted when you felt safe, the tears you swallowed when you felt unseen, the dreams you dared not speak aloud, the anger you tucked away to keep the peace. All of it is you. The pain is real, but so is the joy. They are intertwined. To feel deeply is to live fully. The mask numbed both, but the self feels it all. The ache of grief and the thrill of love. The sting of failure and the pride of resilience. The uncertainty may scare you. Without the mask, there are no scripts to follow. But in that uncertainty, you find freedom. You are no longer confined to a role. You are free to explore, to change, to grow. And in the midst of it all, you find wholeness. Not perfection, but a completeness that can only come from accepting every part of you. And when you meet yourself, you will realize you were never truly lost. You were simply buried beneath the masks. This meeting is not grand. There are no fireworks, no cinematic music. It is quiet. It is personal. It is you standing with you. You will see the child you once were, the one who dreamed without limits. You will see the teenager who questioned everything. You will see the adult who endured heartbreak, who survived storms. And you will realize they were all you. They are still you. You are not a fragment. You are not a role. You are a story, a whole, living, breathing story, and every chapter matters. So ask yourself, when was the last time you lived unmasked, not performing, not pleasing, just being? Maybe it's time to meet the real you. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a life lived from the inside out, a life where your worth is not measured by applause but by peace, a life where you no longer seek to be seen, you simply are. Take a breath, take the first step. The mask is not who you are the one who dares to remove it.